Good morning. It is Tuesday, March 3rd. We're 90 days out from June 1st. If I put Gene first, I'm just looking now. I'm going to make this change in real time because now it's driving me crazy. Now I can't unsee it. So the tool that I use, speaking of tools, the tool that I use is called Ecamm. And I go in every morning and I make these changes. And I wrote Gene first instead of June 1st. And now why can't I find it? There it is. You know, if you only knew the time that I take to make sure I know what I'm doing, and then I don't know, this should make the change. Now she says June 1st. Now we can get on with it. We're going to start again. We're going to do it live. If anybody knows that outtake, that is infamous. Welcome back in. It is Tuesday, March 3rd, 90 days out from June 1st. The DTD2 this week, you are calling your S's and your U's, and you are texting your B's. Calling your S's and U's, texting your B's. And we do that just to make sure that we stay on track, just to make sure that we're moving through all of our conversations. The biggest challenge for realtors is staying consistent with their lead gen, no matter what it is. Usually once you've found what you enjoy, that makes it a little bit easier to stay on track. Yet staying consistent is just so difficult. So that's why we put that tool right at the top of the morning news. You get this around 7:15 in the morning. Just go right to the morning news. DTD2. Who should I be calling this week? Who should I be texting this week? And you're calling your S's and your U's, and you're texting your B's. And it's that simple. And today's Tuesday. So we do have one more week before Bold launches. Bold week 2, session 2 is next Tuesday. What I can tell you is if you were at first step and you're still trying to make a decision, or if you missed everything altogether, I'll throw this out there too. If you missed everything altogether, you can come hang out with us Tuesday morning. And there'll be a session the first half of the day. You can come and hang out and still make a last minute decision should you choose to. Should you still elect to move into Bold and be part of the class? That's next Tuesday here in the Market Center. And we're going to go 5 more weeks starting next Tuesday, and it's going to roll through April 7th. Just so you remember as well, when you graduate on April 7th, and graduating is part of this deal, when you graduate on April 7th from Bold, you then have between April 7th and October 7th to close 4 deals to get yourself reimbursed, and we pay you back $200, $200, $200, and then $199. So your chance for that is next Tuesday. Yet we are here this Tuesday. And we have this morning, we're going to move into Fight Club. Fight Club now is 3 hours. You can hang out for 3 hours. A lot of people have elected to do that in the past. So I've just been like, well, we're hanging out till noon. Let's keep it open till noon. So 9 to 12 today for Fight Club. Go to KWFightClub.com for that. And then at 12 o'clock, we've moved Midday Protocol back, which I know chronologically makes sense. People were like, why was Midday Protocol at 1 o'clock? I was trying to let you have a sandwich. But we're going to roll right into it now because it's part of a bigger conversation we're going to be having after we graduate Bold. When we graduate Bold, the following week, Monday the 13th, there's a brand new program starting. You'll find out more about that as we get closer. And I just think it's going to be a huge impact on the Market Center to have more time together for lead generation. That's why we started this now. So today, you'll notice it says 9 o'clock for Fight Club, and that room will stay open until 12 o'clock. Of course, you can jump over for the Wealthy Agent webinar with the Matthew Erdman. He's the operating principal of Greater Hartford down in beautiful downtown Connecticut. So if you want to go hang out with Maddie and talk finances and wealth building, he does that agent webinar every Tuesday at 11 o'clock. The link for that is in the morning news. And then at 12 o'clock, the newly minted Midday Protocol. I guess it's not newly minted yet, but we slid the time back. It's going from 1 o'clock to 12 o'clock. So your lead gen will be done by 12. Your conversation about your lead gen will be done by 12:30. Then you can go have a ham sandwich, and then you can head to your appointments. And if you have no appointments in the afternoon, what might you do? You might get back into lead gen. You might just get into anything that's going to help you have more conversations with the humans. That would be my recommendation. So that's the schedule for today. We're heading out of here. Fight Club at 9. Wealthy Agent webinar with Matthew Erdman at 11 o'clock. Link is in the morning news for that. And then at 12 o'clock, we'll have our conversation with the Midday Protocol. And that really, come into the Midday Protocol conversation, and all you need to do, you can just hang out and listen if you want to. We're going to have a conversation and find out about people's lead indicators, conversations and interactions, and then appointments, and then agreements signed. Those 3 lead indicators are what we talk about. And then we have a little bit of a coaching conversation, and then we send you on your way at 12:30. That is your afternoon, or your morning, as it were. We're going to leak into the afternoon a little bit. What I did want to talk to you about today, we were fortunate enough, and I know so many people have read it. And if you haven't, I would recommend grabbing yourself a copy, whether it's the tangible physical book, or if you have any of the digital reading systems. I have Audible. I'll tell you my hack too, and this was given to me by my MAPS coach a handful of years ago. Greatest concern with people listening to books is sometimes we're not listening. So if you are someone who uses Audible, the differentiation between hearing the book and listening to the author are 2 different things. And my MAPS coach gave me a great idea, a couple of great, well, the first great idea, then I baked in the most recent one I baked in the last couple of years. And to give her full credit, her name is Tammy Richard. She is the better half of MAPS coach Mark Richard, and they are a great couple up in the greater Portland area. They are involved heavily with the Greater Portland Market Center. And she said to me, here's my concern, Timmy, if you're in the car listening to Audible, whether you're doing it for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, whatever portion of the book you listen to while you're driving, when you park, before you get out of the car, just write down, depending on how long you've been listening, 3 or 4 questions that you would ask the class, or you would ask a peer if you were helping them better understand the book. So if you were teaching that portion of the book, what questions would you ask the class? And that causes you to listen a little bit more. Like, what's the question around this? What's the question that will dig down on the point that the author is making in this portion of the book? And I think that's really important. I think a lot of the country has gotten away from, and this is not me. If you feel like I'm judging, I apologize. This is not a judgment. And I was a pretty good student in school, and I also knew that I needed to corral myself to be a pretty good student in school. So the concern is when you're just hearing Audible and not listening to Audible, you might not be retaining what you think you are. So she gave me that suggestion. When you're listening to a portion of the book, when you pull over, if you're doing it in the car, just write down some questions you would ask of yourself or others if you were teaching that portion of the book. I think that's sage advice. Now, what I've come to do most recently is I have decided, and I love, if you've ever been in my office, I've got 2 book trees. They are consistently full and often rated. I get a lot of books. A lot of books get borrowed out of my office, which is fine. But anything you see on my shelves in here, I promise you I have on Audible, because that's what I will do, because I'm a maniac. I will go into Amazon and buy the book, typically hardcover, because I'm a dork and I like hardcovers, and sometimes they're less expensive, which is crazy to me. I'll buy the hardcover, and then I'll jump right over to my Audible app and I'll buy the book. Now, chef's kiss is when the actual author does the read of the book, and not all of them do. I'm talking to you, Gary. Gary does not do the read of the red book, which is troublematic at best. And yes, I said troublematic. It's a new word. Write it down. It'll be on the quiz later. I love when the author does their own read, and a lot of them do. Took me a long time to get here, but I'm making a point. The book that a lot of us have either listened to or read or both is Will Guidara, unreasonable hospitality. We had the honor of having him at the CEO Mastermind just a couple of weeks ago in beautiful downtown Atlanta. That event took place away from the convention center at a place called the Tabernacle. And when he spoke, he drilled down on touch points. And if you don't know his story, he owned 11 Park in Manhattan, which went from nobody knows what it is to a popular restaurant to the number one restaurant in the world, the number one restaurant in the world, judged by their peers. And the thing they focused on was listening. The thing they focused on was, of course, service, but the thing they focused on were the touch points. How many different touch points do their consumers, their clients, their guests go through as they meander through the experience of being a guest at 11 Park? Whether it's calling to make their reservation or doing it on Open Table or Resi, what is that experience like? What questions are asked? How much do they peel the onion just to start the relationship? And they focused on that. And in every department, what are the touch points and how do we plus them, right? As Brady Sandal from Luxury would say, how do we surprise and delight our clients? And in all of that, he was talking about something special they were doing most recently was when a couple gets engaged at a restaurant, historically the restaurant will offer a bottle of champagne and they wanted to plus it. So what they did is they got very nice champagne flutes. They would have the names and the date engraved on the glasses. And then he had a friend and a connection at Tiffany. So they were storing these regular champagne flutes. They were nice, but they weren't Tiffany, in Tiffany boxes. And anybody that knows, if you have a loved one and you buy them Tiffany, they will definitely keep the box. It's a retail trophy. So that was their touch point. And he talked about this. And in the crowd with us at the Tabernacle was a gentleman who raised his hand because he asked if anybody in the crowd had ever proposed at a restaurant. And I think that guy might have been the only, maybe a couple other people did, but he called on the guy because he was close to the front center of the stage. And he said, how did it go? And the guy said, yeah, they actually didn't offer us champagne. And Gadara's face, remaining professional, but you could see that he was disappointed for the gentleman. And he apologized, and I wish things had been different. I trust you guys are happy. And the guy talked about the fact they're still married, all as well. So Will Guidara wraps up his speech. The place goes crazy. He's a fantastic talent and a wonderful thought leader and a fantastic businessman. And as Jay Papasan comes out, gives him a hug, Will Guidara leaves. Jay Papasan starts talking about the next guest. And Will Guidara comes running out with a bottle of champagne. And he apologizes to Jay. He jumps off the stage and he walks it over to the gentleman. His mic is still hot. They turned it back on for him for this little surprise. And he said, I apologize that you were underserved in the moment, and this is on behalf of the entire restaurant community. And that's how we have to show up. I'm not picking on anyone in particular, but we all know there are terrible, capital T, terrible realtors out there that are underserving people right now. And if you don't get a hold of someone today, they will run into one of those realtors and get underserved. Or in the moment when you see someone being underserved, and you have to do it appropriately, you have to do it through their realtor, but we can always make the entire transaction better for everyone. Knowing that other realtors will not show up with the champagne, we have to have an extra bottle with us. I hope you understand what I mean by that. Let's go be the best restaurant in town. Let's surprise and delight. Let's hit all the touch points. And let's create memories for the people that are involving themselves in the most expensive meal of their life at our little restaurant. If I can help you work through what that looks like for you, let me know. It is 603-834-2856. You can also book my face at meetwithcoach.com. I'll see you in and around the Market Center and the internet. Have a fantastic day.